Greetings, everyone. This is Jeff Wilkerson, professor of physics at Luther College, bringing you the next in our series of what to look for in the night sky. We're talking about the week of September 29th this time. So we're getting deep into the fall sky. Let's start by looking at the morning sky. So in the morning sky, we're doing that because the moon will start to wash out the evening sky as we get about halfway through the week. You're okay to start the week. So in the morning sky, we've been observing Venus and Jupiter there together. But wow, have they been getting farther and farther apart. So now, most mornings I take the dog for a walk at about 5 o'clock my time. I don't have a great eastern horizon. It's great because there's a lot of hills and trees and stuff, but I don't see stuff very early. But we leave at about 5 o'clock, and I'm now not seeing Venus when we're out walking. Jupiter's up high in the sky. By the time we get back in at 5:30, Venus has cleared the hills nicely. So that gives you a sense of how far apart these are in the sky right now. Jupiter, we talked about last week. Go back and look at that. It's still in Gemini, above the head of Orion. Nice big bright dot of light. Venus is a lot brighter, of course, when it clears the horizon. But for me, which is probably 5:20 or 5:30 now, Venus is what Venus does is it gets so there's the sun, okay. And if that's the sun and Earth is here, sometimes Venus is here and sometimes Venus is here. We don't see it when it's right directly in line with the sun. When it's here, the illuminated side of Venus is over here, and we see Venus as a very thin crescent. When Venus is over here, the illuminated side is here, and we see Venus as a nice full Venus, just like we would with the moon. But Venus is much, much farther away here than it is here. So the full Venus is about 6 times smaller in apparent diameter, in an image diameter, than is the crescent Venus, the very thin crescent Venus. This was great support for the heliocentric model of the solar system when we saw this happen this way, that Venus went through a full set of phases, 6 times larger in the crescent phase than the full phase. But right now, it's about to disappear behind the sun. And so Venus is a little small full dot. So if you looked at Venus in your telescope, you're not going to see any phasing really to speak of right now, because it's getting fuller and fuller and fuller and about to disappear. So that's what's going on as these separate in the sky. The moon, to start the week on the evening of the 29th in the morning, there's about 50% full. So we got a half full moon. So already in the evening sky, we're washing stuff out. That's why we want to focus on the morning sky a little bit. By the third evening of the third and the morning of the fourth, it's 85% full. And it sits here next to these 2 stars that we look at all the time in Capricornus. Nashira, a 3.7 magnitude star, and Deneb Algedi, a 2.9 magnitude star, because the planets and the moon pass right by these stars. They're great marker stars for us. A couple of nights later, it's basically full on the night of the 5th into the morning of the 6th, and the moon sits just above Saturn in the sky pretty much all night long. So it's in the dark night sky all night long, and we're gonna jump off from this and talk about Saturn and some of the regions around Saturn, but that's observing you want to do early in the week before the moon gets there. By the time the moon gets there, it's going to be hard to observe any of this stuff we're talking about. So we want to observe early in the week and later at night. So this will be midnight on early in the week we're talking about. But Neptune sits right above Saturn, and the moon will be very, very close to Neptune, but Neptune will be ridiculously hard to see with the moon as big and bright as it is right there. So also in the morning skies, let's just do a quick shout out to the Pleiades. I've been enjoying the Pleiades, this open star cluster in Taurus, as the fuzzy patch above the head of Orion, rising up every morning right now. And Uranus sits just 4 1/3 degrees, about half a fist width at arm's length. 4 1/3 degrees sort of southeast of the Pleiades is Uranus. Your binoculars, you should be able to find Uranus. It's going to look a little different from the stars around there. It's going to have a little more greenish blue color to it, and you probably can be able to tell that it's got a disk. It doesn't look like a point of light like the stars, and a telescope would definitely show you that. Drop another 7.5 degrees on down, and you've got Gamma Tauri there. Gamma Tauri is the nose star in the Hyades. So we think of Taurus the bull as having this Hyades, this V shape with Aldebaran, the eye of the bull, the big red star right there, the orange star. Gamma's right there. It's the nose star that marks the V of the Hyades. And so you can find the Pleiades and Gamma Tauri, and Uranus is about 2/3 of the way from Gamma Tauri to the Pleiades. there as you go across that line. So spend a little bit of time, see if you can find Uranus and enjoy observing that in the morning sky. So this is all good stuff. Saturn's here, Neptune's here. We go about 8 degrees up, almost straight up from Neptune. We go about 8 degrees and we come to Omega Piscium, a 4th magnitude star. Decent skies, you can see 4th magnitude stars. You got a little bit of light pollution, some haze. You might have a hard time seeing down to 4th magnitude. Really good skies, you're not having any trouble seeing down to 5th magnitude. And you might be able to see on down towards 6th magnitude under really good skies. So 4th magnitude, remember every step in magnitude is a factor of 2.5 in brightness. So these are big jumps in brightness. And Omega Piscium is about 4th magnitude. Most of us can see it, but not easily necessarily, depending on where we are. And once the moon starts to wash this out, it'll be really hard. So again, this is early week stuff. So we go about that 8 degrees, 4/5 of a fist width at arm's length up to Omega Piscium. Omega Piscium is a great, fun star to think about, because it's been part of a debate about whether it's a binary star 2 different times. And so we've talked about spectroscopic binaries where we see dark lines in the spectra of stars, and we see a pair of them, and one of them is blue shifted while the other one's red shifted. And so you see these stars in the spectrum shifting back and forth. That tells us that there's 2 stars that are orbiting around each other. And for a long time, Omega Piscium was believed to be a binary star, with a spectroscopic binary star with about a 2-day period, but it doesn't appear to be so now. It appears to be that any shifts we were seeing in lines were coming from oscillation of a single star itself. And all of this is there to remind us that when we talk about these objects and what they are and what we know about these objects, it all sounds easy. You just look at the spectrum and boom, it tells you what it is. But all of this work is hard to do, and the spectra are hard to understand, and there's lots of different things that could be going on. And so in all the work we talk about, it takes a little bit of effort to understand the things. But since then, there are a lot of places right now that list this as a double star, that say there's a 6th magnitude companion to the 4th magnitude brighter star, primary star. There's a very close 6th magnitude companion. But I don't think that's true. I can't find any evidence of it anywhere, so I don't know where that comes from. So all of this is just interesting. Now, off to the west, we have this region that we call the circlet. There are fainter stars here that make it more of a circle shape, but we think of these 4 stars, so we'll blow that up. These are the 4 stars that are the circlet in Pisces. So drift off a few degrees to the west and find the circlet stars and learn your circlet stars in Pisces. We got Lambda, a 4.5 magnitude star, Gamma, 3.7, Theta, 4.3, and Iota, 4.1. Again, none of these are overly bright stars, but visible to most of us here. Let's go back to Omega. Omega, about 1.5 degrees to the southwest of Omega, lies an elliptical galaxy NGC 7785. This region is just rich in galaxies, galaxies everywhere. And we have this elliptical galaxy, 12.9 magnitude. It's a hard one to see. 12-inch telescope, good skies, maybe. I've taken pictures of it. I don't think I've ever tried to look for it in the eyepiece. I only know it by pictures with a 12-inch telescope. Easy with a 12-inch telescope to get pictures of it. Easy with an 8-inch telescope to get pictures of it, or even smaller. So you try to get photographs of it. If you got a 14-inch class scope, I think you could start to see that pretty well, maybe. But if we go then over here in the circlet, the sort of northwest star in the circlet, Theta, if we go 2.5 degrees up, we have a pair of galaxies, NGC 7619, NGC 7626. They're both elliptical galaxies. They're the brightest galaxies in this region. 10-inch scope, I know you can see. I've seen these with a 12-inch scope pretty easily. So if you got really good skies, a 10-inch scope, you might be able to do it with an 8-inch scope. And you got plenty of opportunity to take pictures here. But if you do take pictures of this region, oh my goodness, well, the galaxies are everywhere, just littered all over your field of view. So it's a fun project if you're out there taking pictures of the sky, a fun project for this week before the moon gets there and splashes this away after midnight, first half of the week. Go out and see if you can find these galaxies. If you drop 1/4 degree and take that picture and just see all of the other, just a background, just a spray of galaxies. Drop 1/4 degree about straight south of there, and there's a 6.9 magnitude star. It's not a bright star, but it's brighter than all of the other stuff in the region. And so you'll see that 6.9 magnitude star in your telescope. And right next to it is NGC 76 11. And NGC 7611 is also, it's part of this spray of galaxies here, but there's a cluster of galaxies. There's a grouping. It's not a real cluster. It's a grouping of galaxies right around NGC 7611. Again, I think your 10-inch scope or 12-inch scope shouldn't have any trouble seeing 7611, but you want to see what you can see of the other galaxies that are around there and take pictures as well. So that's your challenge objects for the week. Go out here and see if you can just start to discover galaxies in and around Omega Piscium and the circlet region of Piscium. And we're focusing right now on the northwest corner. And these are some of the brightest. The rest of the galaxies that are in this region really aren't very bright at all. And you could poke around. One of the things I like to do is not even knowing what I'm going to go look for, just go and point at my telescope at a region of the sky here and start taking pictures. Just point it, almost randomly. Start here near the circlet, and then just move a little bit and shoot some pictures and see what I see, and then see if I can identify. Go figure out which galaxies it is I got pictures of. That's how many galaxies are in this region of the sky. There's so many to look at. So good week, as always, a good week. We're going to have a little bit of moon interference by the end of the week. So your best observing's in the first half of the week here. Watch the moon as it passes by Deneb Algedi and Nashira and Saturn late in the week. But before that, be sure to see if you can find Uranus next to the Pleiades. If not, just enjoy the Pleiades and Gamma Tauri. Then get to know the circlet stars of Pisces and Omega Piscium there. And then start to see, if you want your challenge object for the week, the challenge for the week is to see what you can do with the galaxies that are in this region. And that's what we got for you. Thanks, as always, for watching, everybody, and we hope you have a great week ahead.